Men, listen. One mistake after divorce can ruin your whole old age. I thought I was strong, until I realized my divorce left me completely helpless. My name is Jones Peters. I am 90 years old. I married early. I married with hope. At the beginning, my marriage was good. We laughed. We planned. We had children. I worked hard because I believed a man's pride was in providing and protecting his home. But along the line, everything changed. My wife became disrespectful. Words turned sharp. Arguments became regular. I tolerated it again and again. I told myself a man must endure. I stayed for the children until the house lost its peace. The children were watching too much. Every argument, every shout, every moment of tension, they were absorbing it all. They weren't just listening, they were learning. Learning anger instead of love. Learning fear instead of peace. Learning to raise their voices instead of their hearts. At first, I tried to tell myself it would be okay, that it was just a phase that they would understand later. But deep down, I knew better. You have to be selfish in moments like that. Not for yourself, but for them. In such a union, it's not just about the two of you anymore. It's about the children. What are you teaching them? What kind of people are they going to become if they grow up seeing only fights, hearing only hurtful words, breathing nothing but tension every single day? All these thoughts crushed me. They weakened me. They traumatized me in ways I didn't even fully understand. And the worst part, it wasn't fair to them. They never asked to be born into this. They never bargained for the chaos I was enduring, for the toxicity that had become our home. So, even though it was the hardest decision I ever had to make, I had to put their well-being first. My own pride, my own desires. They had to come second. For their health, for their future, I had no choice but to call it quits. It broke me, but in that break, I hoped they would find something I could no longer give them. Peace. That marriage broke something inside me. I had invested my youth, my strength, my patience. So when it ended, I told myself I was done with love, done with women, done with marriage. I chose to be alone. My friends warned me, Jones, don't close your heart. You're still young. Life is long. I had excuses for all of them. One bad woman made me judge every woman. One failed marriage made me reject love completely. Then my ex-wife left the country with my children. She did not tell me where she was going. She did not leave a trace. It felt like punishment. I believed one day my children would come looking for me. Years passed. I cooked for myself. I slept alone. I convinced myself I was strong. Old age does not knock before entering. At 80, my body became weak. Cooking became difficult. Standing too long became painful. Friends came again. Get someone, they said, at least a companion. I refused. Pride spoke louder than wisdom. Then sickness came. I sat in my house one afternoon and realized something painful. I could never remember when last I had eaten good food. My kitchen was empty. My strength was gone. My house was quiet. At almost 90, one of my children found me. She searched for a year. She fought her mother for answers. She used her work leave just to locate me. She stayed 1 month. She tried. But the bond was thin. We were strangers sharing blood. She already had a life abroad. When she left, the house became quiet again. Quieter than before. I was alone again. That was when it hit me. Money could not help me. Pride could not comfort me. Bitterness could not sit with me at night. The loneliness. Nobody talks about. Nobody tells men this part. They tell you to be strong. They tell you to move on quietly. They tell you marriage is optional. They don't tell you that money cannot carry you to the hospital. They don't tell you pride cannot cook food. They don't tell you that old age is cruel to lonely men. All I needed was companionship. Not perfection, not control, just someone. All I needed was a companion. If you are a man listening to me, hear this. Do not let one bad experience ruin your future. Do not punish yourself for one failed marriage. Do not wait until old age teaches you a lesson you cannot undo. If you can remarry, remarry. If you cannot, have children. If you cannot, adopt. Because old age is lonely, and nobody talks about it. Do not age into emptiness. Because when the nights get long and your body gets weak and silence becomes your only companion, you will understand too late the loneliness nobody talks about. Now, looking back, I can see it all clearly. My mistakes, her mistakes, and the one truth I refused to face for too long. I made the mistake of letting one bad marriage define every woman I would meet. I carried bitterness like armor and pride like a shield, telling myself I didn't need anyone. I refused to move on when my friends begged me to, when my heart still had space to love. I told myself I was protecting my peace, but in reality, I was digging my own grave of loneliness. Her mistakes were hers too. She became disrespectful, harsh, and violent. She left without explanation, taking my children far away. She wanted control. She wanted distance. But I let her absence become my punishment, allowing her choices to cage my life. I blamed myself, I blamed women, I blamed the world. But in truth, my own refusal to rebuild was the heaviest chain I carried. And here is the hardest truth. None of us are meant to face old age completely alone. We all need someone, not for perfection, not for control, not for money, but for companionship, for the small everyday acts that make life bearable. Someone to sit beside you, to ask if you've eaten, to share your silence. That is the real wealth. If I could speak to every man now, I would say this: do not let a failed marriage define your whole life. Do not punish yourself for what happened in the past. Do not wait until sickness or weakness shows you the cost of your stubborn pride. Prepare for old age. Remarry if you can. Have children if you can. Adopt if you must. Make sure you do not walk your final years alone. Because when the nights get long, when your body grows weak, and when silence becomes your only companion, you will understand too late the loneliness nobody talks about. If this story moved you, don't miss the next one. Subscribe to Tales by Timmy and turn on the notification bell so you're always the first to hear our tales. Trust me, you don't want to miss what comes next.